Hi, it's Kada, and today I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Nickolaus Brown. Nickolaus is a Los Angeles-based costumer, and his body of work is so impressive. He's done movies and television such as Free Guy, The Lost City, Rebel Moon, Red Notice, Grace and Frankie, Glee, Scrubs, Entourage, Fight Club, and so much more, including my favorite, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But the film that brings us here today is his work in the 2023 Barbie movie. But we'll also talk about Buffy and some other juicy tidbits. Some real quick background, I first met Nickolaus 20 years ago when he was hired to be the costume designer for a small film by a local movie production company in my city. My husband, Jonso, also worked on the crew, and they became fast friends. Later, we visited Nickolaus in Santa Monica, had lunch on Venice Beach, and did the whole LA thing. Nickolaus and I also discovered that we share the same birthday, so he is my moon brother, and we've been friends ever since. And I am so excited that he gets to meet you all. I also want to thank all of you who submitted questions for Nickolaus about the Barbie movie. I did ask him a question from one of you that Nickolaus could answer based on his experience with the film. And everyone gets a shout out at the end. So without further ado, let's meet Nickolaus. Hi, Nick.
Good morning.
Nickolaus, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Kada. Hello to all of your subscribers.
They are so excited to hear about you.
I am so excited to, I hope I give them a nugget or two that they can take away and go, that was worth my time. I'm just going to start by giving everybody a little bit of information about how a costume department functions so that they understand my position in a better way. So in a department, there are two different factions. There are the costume designers, assistant costume designers, and illustrators. That's one part of the department. Then in the other part of the department are the costumers, which I belong to. Costumers are the ones who make the designer's vision come to life. They're the ones who are doing everything that the designer needs for her designs to make it to screen. So there are two different types of costumers within the costumers. There are finished costumers, which is what I am, and there are custom-made costumers, which can be, they're the ones who build the costumes, but they can also be agers and dyers who will age or dye the fabric or the costumes to make them look aged, more lived in. Once the costume is finished, then they hand it over to the finished costumers, who then take it to set and give it to the person on the trailer who's going to set the costume. And then there are set costumers who go and manage on set anything that the actor needs and to manage continuity. I'm usually a costume buyer, and basically anything that needs to be purchased, which can be clothing that's actually going to be on screen, or if you have to rent it from a costume house, then you go to the costume house and you pull it, or if they need underwear and bras. It runs the gamut. But on Barbie, I was a costume buyer, and then I did all of the male day players and did their fittings. So, and the stuntmen. So I did basically all of the men.
That just sounds like a dream come true. Like you get to shop for clothing and accessories for your career.
So it is. It's amazing, and it's why I love my job so much, because every day is completely different. Like every day you have a completely different set of challenges and things that you need to fix. And people who say, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I'm kind of a problem solver.
Jacqueline, Durran, they were nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well deserved. And Jacqueline Durran, to work with a costume designer who's won 2 Oscars. She's so talented, so kind, and such an interesting and smart person. Of the whole shebang. The world that she created is spectacular. And you were in our initial conversations talking about all of the inside jokes that they did in, and I don't know if it was if costumes did all of her clothes that Ken throws out of her dream house, because technically that's a prop, but You know what I mean? They were all so conscious.
Where they stole the clothes from a shop in Venice.
Exactly. And that is the one fitting that I did with the designer, Jacqueline Durran. We fit the guy who owns the store, who runs out after them, together. The whole movie was infused with horse and cowboy imagery. It wasn't just in those costumes. That was kind of like the culmination of this idea of the, like iconic Western macho ideal. And so that was like a kid in a candy store to have the opportunity to work with her. I mean, we pulled him in like a half hour from the costume house. We were working at a Western costume, pulled it, and then I had to go find jewelry for him. It was like horse jewelry, like he wears like a necklace and rings that were like, Western specific. And so that was like so great. That was like the one time that she happened to be there and not on set, and we got to do that fitting together. It was really great. There were definitely characters like the store owner who were supposed to look lived in and like and realish, but not like to be a contrast with Barbie and Ken, who were like brand new. Like all of their outfits were brand new.
Yeah, because of course Barbie and Ken are going to be brand new. They're just out of the box.
They're just out of the box. You have just untied those twist ties. I have worked with incredibly talented designers. I haven't worked with that many Oscar winners. And so for me, that was like a real amazing opportunity to work with somebody who has such a storied and, lauded career as Jacqueline. That was really amazing. Barbie was shot, the majority of it was shot at Leavesden Studios in England because it's a huge soundstage. Like Star Wars was shot there, like big, huge features that need big sets shoot at this studio. And the designer, Jacqueline Durran, is also British. And so really most of the crew, like 90% of the crew was British.
Wow.
And so when the costumes that they sent here were the Western costumes, the skating costumes, and they actually purchased her last look, like when she goes to the gynecologist, they purchased that in Los Angeles, and they did a fitting with her, with Margot, for that look. That was specifically Los Angeles. And then they sent the Mattel employees, with the big chase scene that like starts inside and then goes outside, and that's in Los Angeles. We did that. And obviously America Ferrera's costumes and her daughters, and it was good. We got them early, and we were like fitting the background for like the school where, Barbie first like comes to see her. And it was really good to have a reference of what her character wore to kind of make the rest of the school make sense.
Yeah. And all the like dark clothing compared to Barbie, who's in the neon pink.
Exactly. And usually it's the inverse. Like usually they want the background to be bright, to have like something printed, or you know what I mean? And it was a very calculated decision on the designer's part to make it so that they would, so she would stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Glad you noticed that. My job is to be ahead of schedule because I'm getting things ready to be on camera. So really the only two times that I was on set was helping get the background dress for Venice and for Century City. I was there for Century City, which is when Ken has the Century City is the office building that he has the epiphany that men really rule the world. It was the first shot of her in the Western outfit. It was her and Ken in the Western outfits. Yeah. And like people's heads were just like, I was like, it was kind of the first moment that I realized like how big this was going to be. Like it was just, and then when they were on Venice, which is open, there's no way that they can close Venice Beach.
Right.
Like the paparazzi, it was insane how many people were there to take photographs and for, and like to see it online, like before I even went home for the day, even before I finished the day, like it was online on TMZ. That was like, I mean, it was really like crazy. They had to print that fabric themselves to like to make it, they had to recreate the fabric, right? And it was great. It was great. Jacqueline was very involved and wanted to make sure that there were real characters, Venice characters, because it is such a mix of, like so many different types of people in Venice. That's what we really aim for. I mean, of course, when Barbie and Ken are on screen, it's difficult to notice anything else because they just are so, their outfits are so bright, but.
Well, and I thought the pointing and laughing thing didn't really fit.
Yeah.
Because I was like, aren't people dressed like that on the beach in rollerblades like all the time in Venice?
I mean, I wouldn't say to that degree. And maybe if it was just Barbie and not Ken, like then I'd be like, okay, I don't really, maybe that doesn't make, I think, but with Barbie and Ken, like together in these outfits that are brighter than anything else on the beach. And I mean, I've been to Venice hundreds of times. I've never seen anything like that at Venice. I think if I were on Venice Beach and they skated past me, I'd be like, wow. I don't know if I'd point and laugh, but I'd be like, whoa, okay, I think I would have taken a picture. Like, I don't know if somebody would believe me that they wore this outfit.
No, fair enough. I can see that. The couple together. It's like, oh, wow, you really coordinated today.
You really coordinated. And it is like, that outfit is like, that's, right up there with Magic Ear and Ken. That is a pretty gay outfit.
Oh, I love that.
She's like, did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
Such a funny moment. I mean, there was like one day when they called from England and they were like, we need a Barney suit. Like shipped to England by Monday. So like, we all scattered to go find a Barney suit. Now that didn't make it into I don't know what the joke was. That didn't make it into the movie. Just like I did a fitting with a stuntman who was a cowboy and he didn't make it into the movie. Like a lot of things just when they're editing it together, depending on the beats and.
Yeah.
But I was there the day that they shot the old woman on the bench, who she like has that kind of touching interaction with. She's a famous costume designer. That's Anne Roth, who is like does Meryl Streep. I mean, her career spans decades and Oscars, and she's amazing. And Noah Baumbach did a film with her, and I guess that was the connection. But she just ended up wearing what she wore to set.
Perfect.
But I mean, she's a costume designer. So
you know it's going to be appropriate.
Her life is curated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. I mean, I was sitting right here when I read Barbie. I mean, when I read the script, they sent me the script. I read it, and then it literally went poof, and I never saw it again. And I remember finishing the script and like texting a friend being like, if this movie isn't like the biggest movie of next year, I don't know what will be. Like the script was so good. I mean, obviously, it resonated with so many people. Right?
You gotta do Barbie justice. This has to be tongue-in-cheek. Barbie acknowledging that she's a doll and also a symbol to women. And is that a positive thing or a negative thing? And so they did it so right. And I was delighted that it worked out because it could have gone so wrong. I mean, it could have flopped. And still spent the same amount of money, still had all those amazing costumes. And if the script wasn't there and the story wasn't right, then it could have majorly failed.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The script was genius. It was amazing that they turned it on its ear and turned this thing, like you said, that could totally be, like there's so many people that won't buy Barbies for their kids because they feel that they're like sexualized and all of these things, and just like totally turn it on its ear. And I think that the script did that. I mean, that's Greta Gerwig. The casting was also amazing. I mean, to cast a trans woman and to cast, the casting was so amazing. So when we first got it, there's a program called Sync on Set, which is where you upload all the pictures. So like the continuity, and it's very well encrypted, and like people can't get in. You have to have, clearance to get in. And when we got clearance to get into there, we were like, okay, let's see what this movie is, And like seeing the president's office in all pink with East Ray, I mean, it was just so, it was so amazing. And it was so funny. It was all the things. Like, it was a magical movie. And it was like, it hit the zeitgeist right at the perfect time, with everything that's happening in this country with women's issues they're facing. And, America Ferrera's, amazing monologue, and I could be jaded and cynical because I worked on it and I live in this industry, but it's just when something works, it's magical. And you just love to be on those shows where you contributed to something that really affected the cultural consciousness. It's amazing. It was a gift, complete gift.
Scene where they were trying to get over the turnstile, and they're like, "Who's got the card? Who's got the card?"
Wait, I don't have my key card. Sorry.
Barely waist high turnstile.
I know, right? I know. Like men, they just. And another pointed, commentary on men.
So they do honest trailers about every single movie, and they did an honest trailer about Barbie, and it was very funny. But one thing they said at the end was, "Did they consult any men on this?"
Well, it's co-written by her partner, Noah. So
Yes, that's right.
I think that is the genius of the script. That it was two brilliant minds with their own perceptions of what toxic masculinity is and what feminism is. It's amazing.
Let's go to some of the questions from our viewers. For the Love of Dolls, would like to know, what was your favorite costume in the film, whether you worked on it or not?
My favorite costume it's kind of a cop-out, but it's the original Barbie. It's like that black and white bathing suit that they open the film with. It's just, when I think of Barbie, it's like, when I think of Barbie, I think of that, the original Barbie, or In the Spotlight Barbie. Those are kind of my two iconic Barbies in my brain. It's one of those moments in the cultural zeitgeist where people's heads exploded. And I think that opening gets it so well, with the parody of 2001.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so amazing. And I think that she looks incredible, and they did such a good job in recreating the costume, and it just that, to me, that's my favorite costume.
Because she's got the most beautiful legs, so she's the perfect Barbie.
Yeah, it's got the most beautiful everything. I mean, she's definitely a human being. She's not flawless, but I mean, she's just such a stunningly beautiful woman. Okay,
she photographs well.
Yes, she does. Yes, she is very gifted that way.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talented. And she makes really interesting choices. I, Tonya. She's had that one where she plays the queen. She's made really interesting choices for her career. And then she was the one who really spearheaded this.
Right. I was going to say, wasn't she a producer or something involved some way?
Yeah. She's the one who took the meetings with Greta, and pitched it and said, this is going to be the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah. To be involved at that level is huge. She says a lot about her.
Absolutely. And her partner was one of the producers also. So I think they're a really great team.
Here we go.
Oh, the book. That cover is everything. That cover is just, it brings back all the memories of undoing the twist ties to liberate the Barbie. She also wore, I know, there it is. There's in the spotlight. The skirt, the ruffle at the bottom could have gone down a little, in my opinion.
Oh, it's Mackie. Of course it is.
Of course it's Bob Mackie. Look at that.
Of course it is.
He's so brilliant. That's anything sparkly and a great, interesting take on something. I love they also used a lot of vintage Moschino. Moschino is my design hero. He's one of the reasons. Look at that. I can't even imagine the time and effort that it took to orchestrate that tour, to for everyone to be different, for it to follow all these original Barbie costumes. It's staggering. And then to like go into archives and find like vintage Moschino and and like Chanel. I mean, it was like every designer.
It
Every
was
designer, Versace, like
Valentino.
Valentino, exactly.
Yeah, Vivienne Westwood, every major designer. My jaw was just on the floor with every page. So,
but I think that's also a testament to how many people have been influenced and affected by Barbie. I wonder like how much of that was improvised.
I know.
Because like when I heard about the Barney costume, I know that they were trying things that weren't scripted. That, you know what I mean? Like they'd come up with a joke and like see if it worked.
I did hear that Ryan Gosling had a number of ad-lib moments.
Could you just hold on for 1 second?
Oh, okay.
Sublime!
He's a smart guy. Well, I mean, like look at his Oscars performance. I mean, he's so committed.
The one where he did the I'm Just Ken. How did that song not win the Oscar? Love Billie Eilish, but that song and the Oscar performance, so good.
It's so good. And the costumes are so good. It was really well done. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Barbies. The irony being that my sister didn't like Barbies, so if she ever got a Barbie, it would like kind of like gravitate towards me. I wanted to make clothes for her. And my grandmother realized that if she gave me a box of Kleenex, that I could make dresses out of Kleenex, and it wasn't like a huge amount of money. And I mean, so like for like my history and upbringing and like what Barbie means to me as a person is the design. That like it's this world that you like as like growing up in Escondido, California, you're not exposed to. Like it's just it's like a world that's amazing. And then like in the 70s it was like Malibu Ken and Malibu Barbie. It's like that I could totally relate to, like the beach. Like that was like, but not my favorite. Like like a bathing suit is
exactly.
She did have sunglasses, but there wasn't a dress.
Exactly.
There weren't a lot of accessories, and it's all about the accessories.
Who are your favorite Barbies and/or Kens?
Well, definitely in the spotlight. Like it's like the Tattagé champagne ad. It's just so glamorous, and it's just so iconic. It's black. It's all the things. Okay, sorry, my dog wants to help me answer this question. That's Scotch. There he is. He's a little growly, but he won't leave me alone until I pick him up.
Let's see the face.
There's little Scotch.
Oh.
He's very dirty. Anyway, he's getting a bath today. Shh. Anyway, so like that, I mean, that's my favorite. Like it's glamorous. It's all the things. It's like, it's everything that I want a Barbie to be, this like glamorous, woman about town who probably lives in New York, just all the things that I was not exposed to as a child. And then for Ken, I mean, it's no secret that I'm gay. So it has to be Magic Earring Ken because like, I love the story of Magic Earring Ken, that it is the best-selling Ken doll of all time. And the reason is that all the gays bought it.
Of course.
And then when Mattel figured it out, that like they had created the gayest doll ever in the history of Mattel, they pulled it. Instead of making more, it's catching so much flack for it being so super duper gay, with like the mesh t-shirt, and then like a lot of people say that his necklace is a ring, and the leather jacket. I mean, it's just so like West Hollywood ready. Anyway, I totally remember Skipper with the growing boobs.
Yes.
My sister had that one where you like crank the arm. And that was like always bewildering to me. I'm like, but I loved that in the movie they had like fleeting glimpses of all of these, like kind of banned like things that were like controversial or like kind of a miss. I love that lore. Mostly the like Barbie play set that I had. Basically, like, I don't know if it was supposed to be a private jet. There weren't like rows of seats. It was like, it was
more like it was a private jet. It's Barbie.
Exactly. So it was like, there was like a chair and like place to make drinks and, and like pretty small, but I mean, I don't know why I was like obsessed with it. I guess because I hadn't been on a plane yet.
I had the camper van. That tells you the difference between our like lifestyle. I was all excited.
You must live in the
The
Northwest.
RV. Exactly. You were nominated for a Costume Designs Guild Award this year for Rebel Moon.
I was.
Wow,
Thank you so
that's
much for
huge.
mentioning that. I'm really proud of it. That was a really challenging show. It's on Netflix. It shot for a year, and it was, like a labor of love of Zack Snyder and his wife, and it was one of the most difficult jobs that I've had in my career, because in the last 3 weeks we established like 45 to 60 custom-made costumes. We lost to Barbie. The irony that Barbie won that award. They were up for the same award.
Well, and obviously, your work was well acknowledged by getting a nomination. And then the fact that you also had a hand in Barbie, which won, I mean, it's like 6 degrees of Nicholas.
I have to say, like COVID, it was really hard, like working. And then I was doing Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds. I've worked with them several times. But Ryan Reynolds was great. I helped spearhead this thing to make masks during COVID.
Yes.
I was posting on Instagram, and he reposted one of my posts, which like I had like 300 more followers the next day. Like it was really cool.
I saw that you worked on Free Guy.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. That was a fun one.
It's such a good movie. That's another one that had a great script. Like when I read it, I'm like, this is just going to be so cute. It's actually one of the movies where it turned out better, even better than the script. Like between all of his ad libs but I mean, his first fitting was 30 boxes of chambray shirts and khakis. Like they ended up building his shirts, but I want to say he wore All Saints khakis, and he's like a model. He's 6'2" and he's 40 long. He's so tall. He is literally like my dream body. Like I wish, like if I could be any body, it would be that body. Like it's like nothing looks bad on him.
Yeah.
He just is so tall and slender.
I was just thinking about Madonna, like literally yesterday I was Googling if there was a Madonna Barbie, and there's not.
That would be like, I mean, that would be so tough. They would have to release like 10, like because she's just been so many things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was like when I did Glee, I did the Madonna episode, and that was like one of my favorite parts, was coming up with all the different Madonnas.
I love
She's
her.
amazing. I have like a weird connection to her in my life. Like I saw her first tour in San Diego. I saw her on the Johnny Carson show in the 80s. I saw all of her tours until I was dating her brother. And they got in a fight. And so we didn't see the Drowned World tour. And then my partner, well, this actually before that, my partner managed Rupert Everett, and they did The Next Best Thing together.
Mm-hmm.
So I danced with her at the wrap party, which was like, I was just on the dance floor. She was dancing around. It was Fatboy Slim, and like she turned around and we were dancing together. I was like, literally, like, keep it cool, keep it together, Nickolaus.
We have a lot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans on this channel, and I would love to hear about your experience there.
So that was at the very beginning of my career. And so thankfully I was in my 20s when I did it, because I would have to be in Santa Monica where it's shot. I'd have to wake up at 3 a.m. to be there at 4:15 in the morning.
Woo.
And then, on Friday it would be 5 p.m. because it was a vampire show. So we called it Buffy the Weekend Slayer.
Which weekend is it?
It was amazing. The actors were so nice and generous. I did the pilot presentation for Angel, which was really fun. And I designed Nicholas Brendan's first wife's wedding dress, which was really amazing. Yeah, Tressa. She looked beautiful. It was in InStyle magazine. I was very proud of it. And then I became friends with people on the show. Like Claire Kramer and I she played Glory, became really good friends. And because I was friends with her, she was friends with all the Bring It On girls. So like one time they all came over to my apartment. And then the next day, my neighbor comes over. He's like, okay, you just have to tell me because I think my kids are going insane. He's like, he said that everybody from Bring It On just walked into your place yesterday. And I was like, yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, it was all the bitches. It was like Nicole Bilderback and Claire. And Buffy was really amazing. I did 3 seasons and it was, it's how I bought my house. It's like, I worked 70 to 80 hours a week. It holds a special place in my heart. It's also one of the most difficult shows that I've ever done. In the middle of the night and something comes up and you have to, usually on a show, you're like, okay, we can run to the store and get this, or we can do this. It's like, and especially if you're on location, you know what I mean? I'll never forget in the season with the initiative, the nemesis, the cyborg, half robot, half human person who had the thing on his leg, it didn't work. It was a nightmare. It did not, whoever built that was Julie Taymor's friend, that the costumes in The Lion King. It just was not ergonomic. It was, and then finally the director's like, you know what, we're gonna have him rip it off in this scene and he'll be gone. Because we're like, this is just, let's not fight this any longer. I have to say, I just want to say really quickly, in the vein of feminism, a lot of people say that Sarah Michelle Gellar is a bitch and she wasn't nice and so many of these things, but it's that total double-sided thing where it's if it's a man, it is revered, and if it's a woman, she's a bitch. And Sarah was so professional and knew all of her lines. She had a photographic memory. If I had a conversation with her about her costumes, about her changes and what order they were in and when she changed, I would have to have the information in front of me when I had the conversation because it was all in her brain.
Wow.
She would, so for change 3, it's going to be this on this day. And I mean, it was all in her brain. And all that Sarah required was that you were as professional as her, and she would walk on set, the stunt coordinator would be there and he'd be like, okay, so you're going to do a punch and then this, and then a roundhouse kick. And then and then it'll be your stunt person who'll do a backflip. And Sarah could do a roundhouse kick. And she would come on set and just with that, wouldn't rehearse it. She'd be like, okay, let's go. And she would just do it. I have to say, it kind of left me in. I don't know what her dynamic was with the rest of the cast. Not my business.
Yeah.
But as far as working with costumes, she was incredibly professional. And then there was Eliza Dushku. Eliza, get a show, come back. She is so talented, and she is just one of those people who she'd walk on a set and the entire, everything would kind of stop and they'd just be, because she just has that thing that's X Factor that is so sexy. And she's so funny and so nice and so down to earth, and she has a gay brother, and she's really cool. Well, let me tell you, Kada, it was, for a gay man, the biggest thing for me for the entire experience was I saw it at the Alamo Draft House with a friend, and to see my name in Barbie font on the screen, spelled correctly, because I have a really weird spelling, it was it just felt like I had made it. It was such a kick for me. Really, I just want to say thank you so much for your interest. I think I'm so grateful for you to having me on today, and for the great questions that your followers asked. And I hope they get something out of this. I hope they enjoy this. I hope that I inspire them. If Hollywood is the place where they believe that's the place where they should be, then I hope that they act on that impulse and do it. Because I did it, and I'm from this rural place. And that's how we know each other, because I worked with your husband, a million years ago in where you guys live, and that's the connection. We're still friends. And I really believe that, people need to be inspired to follow their dreams and to, see this kid who, had like humble middle-class beginnings and in a rural part of San Diego that, can move to Hollywood and make their dreams come true. I think that's a story that most people can relate to.
It's a great place to meet great creative people in the industry,
Agreed. And I've made so many great friends, and I've been awed like my entire career. I think Scott wants to say goodbye to everybody. Scott says goodbye. He is. Yeah, I know. You're famous now. You're YouTube famous. But Kate, I just want to thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun. I love talking about the industry. It's my passion. It's, something I've devoted my entire life to. Sometimes it can seem so silly and trivial. And it's like when I have these conversations, I remember the joy and the magic and the reason that I started doing it to begin with.
So glad that you do what you do, because what you do, we all see. How many people can say that? What I do for work is seen by millions and billions of people, and it affects people in their own personal way, and usually that's in a positive way. So congratulations on that, and thank you for what you do.
Okay, I promised I wasn't going to cry. Thank you so much. That was very sweet, very kind of you to say. I really appreciate it. And he's definitely cuckoo. His love language is growling. So, if I took him to put him on the floor, that's what he does. Aww, little nugget. Look at those eyebrows. You have the most expressive eyes. Let's talk about Barbie.
Let's talk about Barbie.
Oh, sorry. I didn't get to wake up my dog.
Oh, he's like...
He's like, that we can agree on.
We agree on a lot.
Right?
We're both cancers, born on the same day. I saw it in the theater, it was our birthday.
Yes, it came out on birthday weekend.
Yes. So.
Ripley and Scotch are obviously very opposed to paparazzi, but Leighton touched the snake. It was so creepy. It was like, oh. I was Ripley agreeing with you.
Yeah. Oh.
Complete. I did Race to Witch Mountain, which the original my mother's dog was in. We went to the drive-in theater to see it, and then she was like, "Look, it's Maru!" When the dogs come up, and then they couldn't find. They wanted all black, solid black Great Danes. And I think, I can't remember if they needed 5 or 6, but they found 4, and then they had to paint the last one. So you can tell, when you watch the movie, you can, when men with gray hair dye their hair brown, and it kind of turns that weird brown-orange color? That's what it looked like.
Is there a second season of Trixie Motel?
Yeah, isn't there one coming out soon?
Is there?
It's really funny. I love his husband. I think they have a really great energy together.
David, yeah.
And he wore this jacket on the first season. This is Mr. Turk, which is in they have a huge store in Palm Springs. I like off-gassing. I know it's like new car smell. I know it's not good, but and the dogs and your collections.
Yes. Yeah, it's big. If you start looking at my videos, you're going to be like, whoa, girl got a problem. Thank you again so much, Nickolaus. I love you.
Absolutely. Kisses.